It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Let's go outside. Let's go outside. I have been working in my garden, getting it ready for spring and summer, and I love it. It's a lot of work, but all that hard work just makes it even more rewarding. And right now we are on our way to go pick up one of Macy's friends who's at home by herself and kind of bored, which is what we do a lot when we can. Like a suture needle.
What needle?
Suture needle. Sutures are stitches.
That's not helpful though. No,
It's hooked.
Why does it have to be hooked?
So you can go through and you don't have to go from one side.
Oh, like, stitches.
That's what I said. I said stitches.
I was thinking like stitches and like fabric.
Well, this fabric of your skin. When I got my finger sewn up, it was a hooked needle.
Did you watch it?
No, heck no.
How'd you know?
Because I saw the suture kit.
Oh.
I saw her coming at me with the needle and the stuff. No, I didn't go ever. Well, my nerves were damaged because they had split open so deeply. But
Did you not feel them sewing it together?
I don't remember. I think she might have given some kind of numbing shot or numbing cream or something. But at that point, my skin was so damaged that I felt a throbbing pain. But it wasn't like a, like a,
Ouch.
yeah, it was an ouch. It was a big ouch. Big.
Did it hurt when you busted it open? How did you even bust it open?
Fell off the stage.
And you landed on your finger?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly. Accidentally flung myself off the stage in a chair. It's choreography. It's at the deepest part. And I remember the chair going over, and I remember seeing the wainscoting.
Wait, what?
I was in a chair. I was sitting in a chair.
Yes, by where?
A chair was on a small platform, which was like the edge, the corner of the platform was flush with the edge of the stage. And the chair I was on, I didn't know that the back leg of it was right on the edge of the platform. So when I sat in it real hard, as the choreography required, the whole chair went over. And of course, since it's right by the edge of the stage, it just kept going. And I was in the chair. And I remember seeing the wainscoting of the side of the stage as I was like doing the endo. It's that wood paneling.
Okay.
It's called wainscoting. I remember seeing that, thinking, I am falling off the stage right now. And then I remember thinking all of this.
Not that long, not that tall.
I understand. It's, it comes up to about here when I'm standing up next to it. But I remember thinking all of these things in the brief moment that I was falling off the stage, and I thought to myself, I'm falling off the stage. And then I thought, I need to be sure to get up as soon as I land, because I need to make sure Josh, who was my choreography partner, knows that I'm okay, because I don't want him to feel like this was his fault that I fell.
Yeah.
Because it's not his fault. Because he doesn't actually throw me. I made it look like he was throwing me. That was the choreography. But we controlled ourselves.
Yeah.
So I popped up right away with my hands up, and I'm like, I'm okay! And I could, feel the discomfort of, bonking. You know how when you bonk something, it's like, it hurts, but you don't, think anything of it right away?
Mm-hmm.
And, my hand hurt, and my knees hurt. I had bruised both knees, and I'm pretty sure created holes in the pants of both knees. Just from, landing so hard, I guess. And I had my hands up like this. I stood up real quick, and I'm like, I'm okay. Ha, look at me. And I look over to where the edge of the stage is, and one of the actors was right there at the edge of the stage. And he has this look of concern on his face. So I guess while I was falling, he had run down the stage and run over to the side. And by that point, I was landing and up again. And I don't know how long I was on the ground before I popped up, but in my mind, it was boink. As soon as I landed, I popped up. And he was standing there. He was like, huh. And I was like, I'm okay. And I look over at him, and I was like, huh? And then I look at Brenda, and everyone's face is like,
yeah, because you just off the stage.
And I look at Brenda, who's a nurse, and she's like,
you're not okay.
Your finger is not okay. And I was like, huh? And then I looked at my hand like this, not like that, because that was where, and I was like, and it was bloody. And I was like, can someone throw me a towel? So they threw the towel, and I wrapped it around my hand. And of course, I'm still avoiding looking straight at it. And then Brenda, she's still looking at me, and she's like, you might need stitches. And I had never had stitches. This was before Macy. I wasn't a fan of needles. Like, now I'm like a needle pro, because, you know, when you go through pregnancy, every shot and every needle and every this and that, you're just like, whatever, stick me.
Yeah.
But I had never had stitches before. I was not a fan of it. So my friend Carrie was in the cast. Aunt Carrie was in the cast. Carrie, and I'm like, Carrie, will you take me? And she's like, sure. And we had just started rehearsing. I think we were 15 minutes in. We ended up at the hospital forever. It was like midnight when I finally got seen, and it had been 5 hours. And at the time, my friend had come to meet me there, and Carrie left at like 11 o'clock because it was super late.
Yeah.
And so she left. And Charlie came, and he had been working all day, and he took one look at the injury as the nurse was examining the depth of it. Charlie said that he was like waiting for bone. Like she kept peeling back layer after layer after layer of finger. And there's the finger. Like there's not much to it. It's a finger. It's some muscle, bones, and some skins. But it had popped wide open. And so he's like, I need some water. So he takes 2 steps out of the little triage room where we're waiting, and just, I hear this, thud. And I'm like, crap. And I couldn't see because the door is on the wall that I was.
Yeah.
And so and the bench was so high, like I couldn't just sit on it. I had to hoist myself. And with one hand, I wasn't hoisting. So I lean out far enough to see a pair of shoes on the floor, like down.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Like feet are down. And I said, did he pass out? And the nurse that was seeing me was like, I could hear her going, sir, sir. So I see her peeling him up off the floor, and I'm like, that's just great. And then I see a little bit of blood on the floor. I'm like, all right, he either broke his nose or he busted open his eyebrow, because he just went like timber straight down. And I said, did he break his nose? And she looks at me and she says, no. I said, is he going to need stitches? And she said, yeah. So I'm like, great. Who's going to be in here with me while I'm getting stitches if he's off getting his own stitches? So they wheel him off to get a CAT scan or whatever to make sure he didn't get a concussion from hitting the
because he saw
hard floor
her thing
straight down.
Because he saw her thing.
Like little suture bib on, and he tries to peek his head in before she gets busy on my finger, before they'd gotten to him. And I said, get out. I'm like, wasn't to put this in, because I was like, no, get out. Because we're not doing that again. You can just wait until I'm finished. So he gets about 4 or 5 stitches in his eyebrow. And I got, see if I can remember. I think I got like 7 sutures on the inside of my finger to sew like the layers of muscle and tissue together. And then I got 11.
That's a lot of stitches.
That's a lot of stitches. 11 stitches on the outside. And it goes from like right here. I know you can't really see it. You can't, because they did a good job in the scars. You can see it in person. Maybe if the lighting's just right. It goes from here all the, and like touching it right now feels really weird.
Why?
All the way up under my fingernail.
Why does it feel weird?
It just it doesn't have a lot of feeling.
Can I see it?
And it feels like when your finger goes numb and you touch it, that's how my scar tissue
Can I see
feels.
it? That's
For months, I had no feeling in my finger. I couldn't bend it for quite a while because it was so swollen. It was like a baseball bat. Yeah. And for months, I had no feeling on the side of my finger. And even now, there's feeling, but it just feels weird.
I think that one's tougher.
It feels really weird. I had to take a couple of days off of school for what I was doing that same week. The Duggars, of all people, before they got their whole TV show, they did have a special on TLC where they were building and decorating their own home. And it was the stage of the special where they were doing the inside. So the producers contacted the theater where I was performing and were asking for muralists and artists to come in and paint the inside of the house. And so I'm an artist, so they got me and 2 other people associated with the theater to come in and paint the Duggar house. So I took 2 days off of work to paint during the day. Maybe it was 3 days. So one of the days, everything went fine. Second day, everything went fine. I went to rehearsal that night, busted my finger open. The third day, I'm sitting there painting, and I can't hold a paintbrush with this finger because I couldn't bend it. So I'm holding it with these fingers, and I got this baseball bat bandage on my finger, and I'm just pointing upward. And so I'm painting like this. And if you watch the special, you can catch glimpses of me here and there. And I think in one or two of them you can see that I have this big old fat white baseball bat bandage on my finger. And some of the construction guys thought it was real cute whenever I'd walk around, because I had to walk around like this. Because if I had my finger pointing down, it would start throbbing. The set or whatever, and they'd be like, and I'm like, y'all are so funny. Just getting in my finger. We had a choreography in the musical too, where we had to like do this.
Like, I can't
and I'm
do
like
it.
pointing, and everyone thought it was funny. I think it was this.
Funny, though.
We were all dancing like this, and so I'm like, do do do.
That is kind of funny, though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And I'm pretty sure I may not have been able to bend it by the time we actually did it. I'll have to go back and look at the video and see if I'm walking around with my finger pointing like this. I might have done both sides just to make it look intentional. Was the stitches were only supposed to stay in a week, and I'm like, oh, a week? Like in a week you're gonna take these out, and my finger's gonna fall open like a pinata. And be like the Oogie Boogie Man, all
like the guts,
like all the guts. But the woman who was a nurse, she's like, you don't have to go to the hospital. I'll just bring my suture kit and I'll take them out for you. And I'm like,
what?
I'm pretty sure I was more nervous for her to cut the sutures out than I was when I actually got them in the first place. Because I was just like, here's my finger, and it was still like it was disgusting. And I have a standard, so every now and then I'd be shifting my car with my finger pointing forward. So I'm shifting like this, and I would shift a little, like when I would go into a high gear, like when I say high, I mean a gear on top.
Yeah.
Like a first, third, or fifth, and my finger would hit my console, and it'd be like, oh, like it would hurt so bad. So yeah, my finger story.
You can bend it now.
I can bend it now. Everything's great.
You can see it. It's like, let me see again. There's like almost like a permanent like wrinkle.
There is.
It looks like and it looks like this. It's like
everyone kept asking me. Everyone at the ER was like, "Well, how'd you do that?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like maybe as I was falling, I knew I had when I fell off the stage is when it happened, because it wasn't like that before. And I thought maybe I had caught something sticking out like a nail, because that's possible.
Stage.
And just went because it was not a clean opening. It was pretty jagged, and so the sutures were kind of jagged. So when I went back to rehearsal, I was looking for something that I got a tetanus shot just in case, just to see where and there was nothing. There was nothing, but what I think happened, because it looked like a hot dog that had been left in the microwave too long and just busted.
Ew, Mom,
I know. Yeah, I know. I think what happened is when I landed on all fours, my hands landed first and my knee landed on top of my finger and just busted open. How I didn't end up breaking a bone, I don't know. But
one time, for now, I didn't think it was just luckily, because that would be awful. There was like this jagged piece of metal on a door.
I remember this.
I was wearing shoes. They were like these.
They're like flip-flops. Oh my God, I remember this. It was the part of the door jamb on the bottom of the metal door, bottom, and it was sticking out.
And I was glad I didn't get stitches. Imagine having to get stitches like on my toe.
You probably could have used them.
I probably could have used them.
Oh my God.
But so we're going in door, and I open the door, and my foot's right there, and the metal goes in my foot, and this is my toe, and it just goes and just rips my toe open, and it was bleeding everywhere.
So bad. And of course you're like,
was like covered in blood. And
but see, like when Macy,
it was all over.
When Macy cries from an injury, she cries so soft and so like inward.
Because I don't want to.
Because she's not like,
I don't
like
she's
not.
People.
I know, me neither.
She's
not one of those criers. So she's clearly in pain,
so bad,
crying, but like,
I'm like,
I mean, you can see her. And so one of the coaches was at the counter, and it was Eddie.
Frank, right?
No, it was Eddie.
It was Eddie.
He saw it happening. He's like, "Oh man!" Like I guess he'd been waiting for that to happen to somebody.
It was like it was all over like the floor. So she's like dripping on the floor.
So
it was so.
Get her to the couch. She sits down. Eddie's like tending to her. I ran to get some paper towels so that I could like clean off her foot.
Like ninjas classes going on, and these 5-year-olds are just walking. And just parents.
And we got her patched up, but ugh. Go get that child. She may not know we're here. True. Go get her.
Yeah, I remember I cut my toe open. It was just like
it was nasty.
It was gross.
All right, well, this has been long enough, and we got a friend coming, so I'm gonna turn this on. Now we're kicking it in the car.